Good morning, everyone. I'm Charlotte Lehman, and this is Good Morning Especially. Have you seen the meme, Good Morning to Everyone, except this podcast is the opposite. Instead of except, we're saying especially. The world can be a tough place, so every weekday in January, or maybe forever, depending on how this limited series goes, we are here to start your day with some positivity and gratitude. Y'all, I am so sorry. This should actually be a good afternoon, especially, but what can I say? We're all human. I haven't been sleeping great this weekend, and I ended up sleeping in this morning because I really needed to catch up. So I appreciate your patience, and good afternoon to everyone. Good morning to everyone, especially Jean Craighead George. Jean Craighead George, and I don't even know if I'm fully saying her name right, was an author of young adult books about wildlife and the relationships between animals and humans. Some of her books include Julie of the Wolves and the sequels Julie and Julie's Wolf Pack, about a girl who is lost on the frozen tundra in Alaska and survives by befriending a pack of wolves. She also wrote My Side of the Mountain and the sequels On the Far Side of the Mountain and Frightful's Mountain, about a boy who runs away from his life in the city to live in the Catskill Mountains. She also wrote a short picture book called How to Talk to Your Dog. I would never recommend it for actual advice now because we have learned a lot about canine communication and behavior since it was written, and so the book reflects some pretty outdated methods of interspecies communication. But it was a delightful read as a child, and I was captivated by the idea of communicating with my dog. Side note, I'm also obsessed with the dogs that use buttons to communicate, and I have done a little bit of it with my own dogs, but that's an episode for another day. These were all adventurous books for a kid who had a fascination with wildlife, especially wolves and dogs. I was definitely an animal lover, and her books just captivated me. Looking back, I can see so much of my adult self in my love of her books. I have always had a thing for wolves, and I think they are amazing creatures who I just really want to understand and interact with. Now, of course, I want to interact with them in a sanctuary setting because interacting with wildlife in the wild is irresponsible and really dangerous for that wildlife. When I was in high school, at least I think it's when I was in high school, I really wanted to be a falconer and work with birds of prey. And actually, I would still totally love to do that if anyone knows where to learn in upstate New York. And of course, I love dogs. I love my life with dogs. I love training with them and competing in dog sports with them. I love working together as a team. I love the communication and relationships with them. I cannot imagine my life without dogs, and I owe so much, including my career, to my dogs. I'm honestly not even sure where I'm going with this. I just know that Jean Craighead George allowed me to become absorbed in a world of wildlife and adventure and respect for animals, and I am so grateful that she stoked the early flames of those passions for me. I wrote her a letter once as part of a class assignment, and I think she may have answered it. I honestly don't remember if the letters were even sent or whether she responded, so I'll have to ask my parents and get back to you. Since I don't know what happened to that letter, this episode is dedicated to Jean Craighead George. She died back in 2012, but her memory lives on. I won't ever forget the impact she had on me, and I'm sure on many other children. Good morning to everyone, especially Jean Craighead George. I'm Charlotte Lehman, and this is Good Morning Especially. Every day we're here to tell everyone good morning, especially to a certain someone. This podcast is a group project, so I want to hear who you're saying good morning to. You can email us at goodmorningespeciallypod@gmail.com. Either write it out in the body of the email or record a voice memo and attach it. I cannot wait to hear who you're wishing a good morning.